stuck in many areas of my life. It's a hindsight story, right? But a lot of limiting beliefs. Could clearly see afterwards a lot of things hinder me from, living the life I want to live. Understand that I have had a lot of things I wanted to break free from.
This like embodiment of change in things and taking like decisive steps in the right direction.
Have this yearning or this sort of more or less pain in you that you aim for something you do more.
Awesome, Gustav. Great to have you here with us. And you've now been with us for quite some time throughout the program. You've been taking season 1 and season 2 and also season 3 of the Seol code. And considering it's been a journey for you, I'd love to have a better understanding of what has actually changed for you. In Seol, we always try and, process in itself is great, but ultimately it's going to come down to results. Who are you today, and what was the outcome of you going through the program? So I have a few questions I'd love to just vibe around, and we'll take it from there. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is, what was life like before on a personal level?
Before, I'd say that I felt stuck in many areas of my life. It's a hindsight story, right? But a lot of limiting beliefs. But that was something that I learned throughout the program. And mainly for me, like I didn't necessarily feel stuck, but I could clearly see afterwards a lot of things hindering me from, living the life I want to live.
So not really seeing it at the moment, or back then, but I hear a sense of stuckness and unaware stuckness, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Seems like it's quite a common theme amongst many men to come into the program, and I think amongst many men in the world.
Yeah, but the reason I got curious about Seol was exploring masculinity.
Nice. Would you like to share a bit more about that? As in, what was your at the time attitude around masculinity?
The attitude was that I knew almost nothing about it. Felt like I hadn't learned anything about femininity or masculinity throughout my life. But then through personal development, the last 10 years, dipping my toes in it. And I guess that the closest I got to femininity, which was actually masculinity, was the form of feminism that I was brought up in. And me becoming very feminine myself. And then realizing this other part that I don't know, and that can't be anything wrong with it, in the sense that I've been viewing the world a little bit, or quite a lot. So and it feels like a leadership program for men. Probably will go into that, and I knew it would. So
probably will have some elements of it.
Yes.
At least. A pretty safe bet.
Yeah. No, but just being in that container.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for opening up there. And before we dive into your journey and the experience, let's also look at your professional life. At the time, you're also founder then for Mindful, your company. So what was your professional, how was that going for you and your leadership and your professional setting?
So I had and still have 2 companies, and I wasn't. So one company I was just sort of letting it die. But not without a clear why. Like, I didn't want to work with it anymore, but I didn't cancel it either. So it was like in a limbo there. And then at the same time, I started Mindfully, and this then quite new company, but I also didn't really know why I was doing that. So I've often been doing things that comes to me, which is super nice. But it's I was clearly missing a why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Like stopping to reflect, pausing and reflecting about why I do what I do professionally. So throughout the journey, what Seol has brought to me most is the mapping system, and to like map out where are you now and where do you want to go? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And that involves what you do for work, what you spend a third of your life or more doing. And also seeing, like, sort of erasing the boundaries between life and work. And not in the sense that working, which is the work-life balance, is more like don't work too much. But this is more like my life force goes into my work, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. so taking care of that and taking charge of that. And it's like, why am I doing this, and what do I really want to see this go? How do I want to feel all the time while going there? Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think now you're slightly also nudged into a deeper part of or further down the line, which is what has it brought to you? But I love it already that you felt that and not in any way negative. But so I hear. I mean, what I picked up there was really to kind of like frame it. It seems like there was a lack of connection with your deeper why before.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Yeah.
Like you did things that maybe sounded good on paper and kind of felt nice for you, but maybe not 100% connected to like what is the core, like the root of my drive, and those elements were not discovered inside of yourself.
Yeah. Now you could say that the purpose was there, which is really important and really important to me, and that can take you long. Very long, but the if I can frame it like the meaning was lacking, and why.
Oh, perfect, awesome. I am getting a good frame there. So the next question would be around your doubts, like, or what skepticism did you have around joining the program? What was the thing you felt like, must have been quite a few, huh?
Yeah. Especially revolving masculinity and like getting up early, sort of some 4 a.m., 5 a.m. club, and like, why is that part of it, or testosterone monsters or whatever? But that it will be some sort of continue on the sort of toxic masculinity that is everywhere.
The hyper masculine, exactly. Warrior, a lot of that,
yeah. But it wasn't.
Well, I mean, that's we hope not to be that so much, whilst seeing some elements of it and seeing that is also needed. A certain aggressivity, I guess, aggression. That is sometimes overbearing in some of these type of companies and settings, but some of it certainly important that we brought in, like edge, we call it just edge.
But direction, for example, can be very misunderstood.
Oh, completely, But I'd love to take us further into this, and because you held these doubts, but you still decided to join. Why did you decide to join anyways? Even though you had the skeptic.
Good salesman. No,
exactly.
Partly. No, but I didn't see an option really. It was there in front of me, and I didn't see another option. That was mainly it, and also coming together with you coming to my why for stepping into the program and seeing that like I don't have really any excuse to not go in. And then of course that the program seemed interesting, but it was also very new to me, so I couldn't really have any expectations. Looking back, it would have been very hard to expect what I've been through. So it felt like a very good option compared to no options.
So could we say that you saw, what I hear is like there was a sense of like this is just, there's no excuse really. Like exactly. There's I have to just do this now. It came to this point where you came to the land of no excuses. We just talked about it. Where you can look at all the like the different layers why you wouldn't, but deep down you knew. Like, okay, it's the cost of inaction. Is far outweighs most likely the cost of taking action.
Yeah, for sure, and also like being invited to already then take action, and for me at least to spend time and money on my self-worth and growth is as generous as I can get.
Amazing, I love that. I like the way you worded it there with I realized I just had to do it. It's where it's this sort of determination and commitment we have to. Whenever there's been people joining that haven't felt that, we have had to pay for it in another way. What the container has had to pay for it, because the commitment wasn't there fully, and then it becomes something leaking. Amazing. So here we are now, and now I'd just like to understand what are some, what's your life now? And again, if we can break it down into personal, even though they are fusing, as we know, but like personally, what does, how does your life shifted really? And then it's really for some easy examples here could be like emotional shifts you notice inside of yourself,
Yeah.
the relationships, identity, just to set the stage and obviously talk about what's real for you.
Well, the biggest shift has been definitely to realize my dreams and also seeing the bottlenecks and the pains, mainly the pains from the beginning, to understand that I have and had a lot of things I wanted to break free from. And then the big realization that no one else is going to do it. And it's so weird when you find out, or when you realize someone else needs to tell you sort of that, like,
There's no one coming.
no, there's like nothing is gonna solve this unless you do it, unless you can't do it later, really, which is a big shift I've done, that you can't do anything later. So the change, whenever it happens now, and then starting to take action on the pains, like the relationship to my dad, the relationship to my friends and to my surroundings, and really, like, making those lists from the beginning. I called it the life list. And then I had these different sections of like private life or relationships, work, health, whatever. Just there was so much in the beginning, and like just putting top 3 each week, and then on every Monday, like going in and like, okay, tick them off. And not only like, oh, I should call my dad this week. It's like, if it is talk to dad, then it's like, okay, book that call now. Don't have to do it now, but like book it for then, tell him why and such. And then just going through it. And, though a lot of those pains were like mountains, but they weren't really, as long as I took action on them, which was amazing. And that's definitely the biggest shift, that like I need to do it, and what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And that, like, embodying that, and which also happens, the embodiment happens when you start taking action.
100%. So here it's about really to frame it. It's about first of all realizing that there's no one coming for you. So you're in charge. It's like a reclaiming of the captainship of your own ship.
Yeah.
And also this like embodiment of changing things and taking like decisive steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
and learning that, like, where pain is, that's the path.
Pain is a path. So really many qualities around mature masculinity.
Yeah.
It's like those elements that I believe all men deep down yearn for to have inside of them, and naturally it is to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. I like that. And then finally on your professional level, how's life shifted here? And here, it could be leadership, performance of the company, revenue, team, measurable wins.
Yeah. Boundaries, I'd say. Firstly, finding the why, and like realizing, like, okay, I'm doing this to like, a big gain and thing about my journey with Seol has really been to, like, take a break you don't take a break from life when you do Seol, but like taking a break from everything you're doing, from the grind, and like investing the time and money in yourself, and spending 60 days and 60 more, and no matter how far you go, and looking at the life we're at now, is something one should do once a year or more, or all the time. It might be hard to do it all the time, but also doing that professionally really made me like realize why I was in that grind that I was in, and why I created these companies, and I could see more clearly why I did it, and why I was there, and like a bit of a vision, or seeing a vision for the first time maybe. And with that came the realization, or the consciousness around, like, okay, but this is my life work at the moment. This is where I put all my energy. So what am I doing? And okay, these things, I don't feel that it's resonating with me, and I am the company. So it became more personal. The professional life became more personal, and that meant setting boundaries with partners and with where we were heading, and becoming more involved in the company also. Seeing it added like a seriousness, but in a good way. Like, this is my life. I don't want to grind it away. I want to be deeply involved. So that obviously was a big shift.
So then it's really about, I think the first thing you like carving out, 300 hours of space provided you with vision and clarity, first of all. Got a bit more of an eagle-eyed perspective, like what's really happening, instead of just being in the life. You became a bit more on top of it and could see what is happening. And I hear a realization that this is your life, like, and you are again, if you're living it, you might as well live it, and really, instead of just half-assing it, like deciding to go fully into what it is that you're doing.
And I mean, there was so many limiting beliefs there as well, but also like I've only been my own, like I've been an entrepreneur my whole work life, and still grinding. Like, that's, I mean, you start your company because you don't want to grind in a sense. It's not only a negative grind, of course, but like, okay, I'm in charge here as well. How do I want my life to look? Which steps do I need to take to get there? But weirdly enough, you can still get into this, 8 to 5 thingy, and or act like you're have someone else as a boss and not yourself. It's really weird.
Exactly. You're just becoming a slave to your own creation,
exactly.
And it is just running. Can you see that the gain clarity and increased sense of leadership and also involvement have made you make wiser choices business-wise? Can you see how you're using your time differently? How are you, delegating your time towards tasks? Has there been improvement in those areas? Maybe a leading question, but
yes.
Not at all.
Sure. I mean, with that clarity, of course, how do I spend my days? Where do we need to bring in others to do some of the work, or what's in the long run not feasible or sustainable for how we work? And then also in like contact with that, realizing where my value is most valuable in the company or in the direction we're going. It's connected to the last bit, but where is my fire and what should I focus on? Because as now we're 2 people running this company, like we have 1,000 hats on, but which hats should I carry the most?
Exactly.
And also then for me, it has been tilting a bit more towards collaborations and such, the people we work with and collaborate with, and also seeing that's been a big part, to see the value of that network. That I'm not I would say mainly selling a product or like trying to distribute my product. I'm mainly making connection. And when you make those connections and you connect for real with someone you collaborate with, the business in one way becomes, I was about to say secondary, but it merges. It's the same, which goes back to the work-life balance, sort of.
It's an expression, like whether we like it or not, our creation. I think equity is a company is a energy form, and whoever owns, it's like the equity can be an easy way to see, okay, what are the main energies in that? So founders are heavily involved with. That's why it's such it's like personal development on steroids, because linking your personal development also to not just yourself in the life, but also the creation of.
For sure. And another part has definitely been to bring in a lot of what I've learned into my relationship with my business partner. So daring to take the pains there, and daring to look at the dreams, but remember to look at the dreams and looking at the bottlenecks. And for sure.
I like that. So using a deepened or maturing leadership skills or skills that we have used, and then applying them directly with the people that are matter to you a lot and they're close to you.
Yeah.
Nice, awesome. I think we're coming towards the end of this this little chat. It seems I'm really happy to have you here on this women journey, and it's been wonderful to follow your development throughout it. And I can attest to a big shift in you when I notice you, when I meet you, and who you are and how you're holding yourself and how you're talking about things. And there's a sense of sharpness and directness to now, which I very, very much enjoy being around. So that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So as a final piece, who would you recommend Seol to, the Seol 1 year journey to, and why?
Yeah, before and still I always talked about it, that anyone should take a break. A break, it's hard work, and take a look at their life, get a perspective, and also get involved with others who wants to be better. Only that will bring you very far. But that's also so wide. And maybe another sort of simple in would be that if you when you feel stuck, you have this yearning or this sort of more or less pain in you, that you're aimed for something more. And so if you don't feel that you're in charge of your life, then definitely would recommend Seol.
Okay, so a person that feels stuck or don't feel in charge of their lives and is in pain due to this feeling of stuckness, looking for a way out. Yeah.
If they think it can get better, it really can, but they don't know how much better it can get. I have a friend who's talking about that, like he's a 9, like happy with his life out of 10. And I told him last time, like the scale goes to 1,000.
Exactly. It's not. It doesn't stop at 10.
No.
Then it's 20 and 30. Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Okay, Gustav. Big thanks for the chats.
Tack.